Hey everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to this feminine platform, and welcome back to this channel. And if you are new here, ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers, welcome. So I wanted to discuss and to unpack a very worthy and a most recent trending womanhood topic regarding the super stunning and the very beautiful 37-year-old singer, performer, dancer, and hypergmous wife, mother, and leveled up icon, Mrs. Ciara Princess Wilson, and her bad timing decision to create yet another You Don't Need a Man, Have Your Own Bag independent single ladies music anthem that has sparked what I call a feminist flavored Nat Turner mutiny and public outrage, as many women, and many black women in particular, are tired of being a party of one, are tired of the rat race, are completely drained from having to do it all alone, and are exhausted from being their own providers. And as more and more women are waking up from their masculine engineering in exchange for openly desiring hypergamy, resting in their feminine, traditional marriage, having their own biological children, and or having a family of their own and full access to the soft life. So the unintentional, or what I feel is unintentional, tone deaf release of this snippet unfortunately put Mrs. Ciara Princess Wilson in the social media crosshairs and caused her to get cooked in the social media comments and caused her to receive an inordinate amount of backlash, along with some very harsh and some very strong agenda accusations and narratives of being hypocritical, of not preaching what she is practicing, and even worse, accusations of her poisoning and pandering to her fan base to keep black women perpetually single and to make herself rich, while in her private life, she is living a completely different lifestyle. And to keep it all the way real, I cannot say that I didn't see this mutiny of womanhood frustration spilling over and coming in the works. In fact, I saw this kind of boiler pot resentment spilling over around 5 years ago, and now it's finally here. As the independent women pop star girlies like Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Ciara, and even now Rihanna have all had their babies. They all have built and or are building their families, and they all are pair bonded. So quite naturally, many women are starting to get fed up with these kinds of I got my own, men are accessories, cultural messaging that many women, particularly black women, feel are being shoved down their throats in pop culture music, especially by women who are living the exact opposite, and by women, optics wise, who are living the dream life of having it all. Now, as for this platform, I have personally gotten so much backlash from independent, strong women who believe that the messaging of this channel is setting women back to the 1950s, or that my channel is sending the wrong message for women to center and to prioritize their femininity, and that somehow encouraging women to have a husband and or family so that they can give themselves a fair chance at creating a more balanced and a more fulfilled life. So quite honestly, when it comes to these kinds of triggering topics, you cannot win for losing. But I have always been an advocate for femininity, hypergamy, and for building strong relationships, in spite of the huge amount of negative attention that living a hypergamous life seems to attract. But before I get into the rest of my commentary, here are some of the most strongest social media reactions. One woman wrote, "Girl, you are a married woman, not an independent woman. Stop promoting this hard life." Another woman wrote, "Ciara, please stop this now. We're tired of being independent. We want a life like yours. Please stop promoting this type of music when you going straight home to get loved on." Another person wrote, "This is for the girls who don't need a man," in response to Ciara. "Meanwhile, you have a whole husband that's worth millions. Your wealth with him equals billions. Stop pushing this toxic narrative in our communities. Push generational wealth. Black women, do not listen to Cece on this one." And finally, another person wrote, "So just because she's financially secure with a family and has a husband means that she cannot make music? Man, people are so exhausting." Now, to my longtime subscribers and to my hypergamous hive who have been with me from the inception of this platform, you would already know that I have always stated that women are competitive and comparative in the realm of men, beauty, and provision, as most women are wired, with very few exceptions, are wired to desire love and provision and a family because it makes us women feel womanly and feminine, and in many cases, whole, fulfilled, and complete. And if one woman is living the life of her hypergamous dreams, especially in Ciara's case, out loud, with a provider husband and family, she will be attacked and projected on for having what most women secretly want. And there just isn't any way around this fact, which is why I have always encouraged women and women in my new feminine community to move in silence, as masculinas and dust bunnies will always feel threatened and or diminished by women who are thriving in their feminine energy. And while moving in silence may be interpreted as gatekeeping to some women who are on the outside looking in, but hypergamous women such as Beyonce have always moved in silence and have never publicly shared their mindsets or ways of being and thinking because of the kind of backlash that Ciara is now experiencing. And because Ciara's hypergamous life is unfortunately on that main street and that front street app called Instagram, and unfortunately, especially when compared to Beyonce, who completely moves in silence, but unfortunately for Ciara, we all have publicly witnessed Ciara's come up and her rise from the dusty baby daddy ashes by landing herself a most loving stepfather and hypergamous king. And although Ciara is clearly a woman who wants it all and is a woman who is determined to have a thriving pop music career, come hell or high water, but unfortunately more women and her fan base seem to be more interested in her reinvention story and her come up story of becoming Mrs. Russell Wilson, which in her defense is probably frustrating as HE double hockey stick. And I honestly, on a professional music career level, I think that Ciara is just tired of being left out of the musical greats conversation when it comes to her peers, and she is clearly a woman who strongly desires to have an identity outside of being a Mrs. and outside of being rescued by Russell Wilson. And to me, this frustration shows in her restlessness and in many of her IG antics. Now, in Ciara's defense, Ciara, in my opinion, is one of the most sweetest and the most nicest and the most kindest pop music artist on the planet. But as an artist, I personally believe that she was just trying to make a hit song and was simply trying to be a music artist who can convey some kind of relatability, and that she was just trying to keep women from all walks of life uplifted in her artistry. But perhaps now, at the age of 37, she will realize that this kind of independent woman, have your own bag content, musical content, should come from the female artists who are actually living that lifestyle. And let's not forget that performative allyship has always been a part of doing business. There are artists who use women as beards. There are artists who pretend to be from the streets, but who are really from the suburbs. There are married artists who pretend to be single to cater to their fan base. So in Ciara's defense, the lines in art have always been blurred to manage an image of relatability, because successful art is still and forever will be a business. But unfortunately, the internets love to play a dirty game of weaponizing every single move and every single actionable step or mistake that a woman will make, even when that woman is as harmless as a housefly. And while I completely understand the frustrations of many Black women, unfortunately, Ciara is between a rock and a hard place, because more people seem to be more interested in turning her into a hypergamous civil rights leader than they are in her artistry, because simply put, women want her life. So ladies and lurkers, to get this conversation started, have women been bamboozled and led astray by city girl anthems? Is Ciara a hypergamous hypocrite, or simply a music artist who wanted to make a hit? Is the city girls era over? Is music being created to keep Black women perpetually single? Or can we finally accept that music and television are for entertainment purposes only? And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and please share this video to further grow our feminine community. And please stay tuned for more pop culture observations to come, and I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.